All right, let's talk about live dogs. We're including the 4 divisional dogs, and then we'll also include Monday, meaning Notre Dame. So looked up we got the prices here for all of these games. I guess we can include Buffalo. It's even money at plus 100. Of course, they're live. Going in order, then you go to the Rams, plus 225. Wow. One of the higher point spreads, but the Notre Dame money line is plus 280. Plus 280. And you've got the Texans plus 375. And you've got the Commandos plus 400. Sam, where do we start?
We start with our favorite dog, Notre Dame.
I knew it.
So I'm at the point right now where I am ready to give everybody the middle finger and just bet more Notre Dame. Like, that's where
you have a 10-1. 10-1
not
ticket
on the
to win
money
the
line.
title.
Not on the money line, taking the points. I would not bet more money line. Although, actually, I don't mean that. I might. If one more person tells me they can't win, I might bet Notre Dame on the money line a little bit more.
Brad Powers said it yesterday. Notre Dame fan.
Well, Brad Powers is doing that reverse voodoo, whatever. He had a Notre Dame hat.
He was doing it throughout the run. He did it against Georgia, and he admitted it. Yeah.
I'm on to him. I know what he's doing. He's on that BS. He's on that voodoo juju garbage, which is fine. If it works, fine. Why can't they win? Why? Why can't they? Oh, because Ohio State has 3 NFL receivers? The more I see, the more I read, the better I feel on this island. I do. And I've seen a lot of stuff on social, and I wish the game was tonight. Because, you see these graphics and you see these tweets, and Will Howard leads the nation in completion rate against man coverage. Notre Dame plays man coverage at the nation's highest rate. What if Notre Dame's defense is better than Ohio State's offense? Like, that's a possibility on Monday. What if they turn them over? Like they've turned everybody over all season. I hate this narrative that they can't win. We have heard it for 2 straight games. Well, they can't beat Georgia, and they can't beat Penn State. Now they can't beat Ohio State. Obviously, Ohio State is a better team. Obviously. Yeah. I have my concerns about Notre Dame getting into the end zone because Ohio State has a very legit defense as well with 2 NFL safeties, Downs and Ransom. They're both going to be playing on Sundays very soon. Ohio State is loaded with NFL guys. I also, coming into the game, if I was naked on the game, I would not lay 8.5. Would not. Wouldn't even think about it.
Nope. It's funny that people bring up the tough run defense. I heard the same thing against Penn State. I heard the same thing going against Georgia, and they found a way to win. Yes, and they're facing another tough run defense in the Ohio State Buckeyes. That's been pretty comical. Now, it is fair to bring up, now that we have a sample size of a few playoff games here, I'll listen to the argument like, look, if you take away that 98-yard touchdown against Indiana, they're not running the ball all that well. We're talking about 3.3 yards per carry. And how are the Irish going to put up points against Ohio State? Most likely that's the path. Whether it's Love, whether it's Riley Leonard, get back to using his legs. He didn't do it a ton the last game against Penn State. We go back to that. That's probably how they're going to move the football most likely, even though we could point to the secondary of Ohio State and say that's the weakness of that team. I don't know that we trust Riley Leonard's arm all that much, but I mean, the guy came back after the injury in the second half. He was terrific. Everybody was terrific for Notre Dame. I mean, Love looked like a different guy. He was shot out of a cannon compared to the guy that was kind of hobbling around with the big brace on in the first half of that game. It's a lot of the same conversation. It's just amped up because it's the title game and because the Buckeyes are viewed as the team that has the most amount of talent in the nation. But isn't it a lot of the same talk? They can't beat Georgia because of X, Y, and Z. It can't be Penn State because of this and that. It seems like the same talking points. Am I not off base there?
You're not. Look, Ohio State's very good. I also think if they go down, they have the tendency to sort of follow the lead of their coach, who's extremely, extremely tight. He is. I mean, he was extremely tight against Michigan. And it's so funny because if you remember the narrative after that game, we had a video on Instagram that had over 800,000 views. And it was us saying that Ohio State was going to make a run. The video was posted after the Michigan game. And we had people just teeing off on us. Look, oh, this nerd doesn't know ball. Oh, these guys don't know jack. And then they pound Tennessee and they pound Oregon and they beat Texas. And in that 3-game window, which has been extremely impressive, the narrative has gone from Ryan Day's going to get fired, Ohio State isn't jack, to now Ohio State can't lose. And I'm not there. The truth is always in the middle. It's in the middle. They could lose this game. They could. Stop with they're unstoppable. This is not 2019 LSU. It's not. Joe Burrow is not the quarterback of Ohio State. Will Howard is. We'll see what happens. I think Notre Dame is very live in the game, and naturally, I hope they win this game because I'll win a lot of money.
Sounds to me at this moment, you are a zero hedge guy.
Can't do it. I would love the money line price to come down to about $3. That would be great. I mean, anything lower would be even better. But as we said, MGM right now has Ohio State minus 350. I have a 10-unit pot to play with. So now if I'm going to bet to win 2 units, I got to lay 7 of my 10. Nah. I was very, very upset that Texas didn't win. If Texas would have won, this is a much different conversation because Texas would have been, what, a 3-point favorite. I just knocked my phone on the floor. A 3-point favorite and $1.50, $1.60 on the money line, and then you just lay that money line and you free roll. You're good to go. But it's hard when you have an 8-point favorite. That said, though, Joe, did you see? They came in again yesterday, and they knocked it down. They came into Pinnacle and Circa and Superbook and South Point and Buckeye and Bet Online, and they bet more Notre Dame. Down to 8 now. Down to 8.
I don't think it's getting a 7. But, man, we've gone down 1.5 points at most spots already. We're getting closer to that key number. Might close 7.5, but, yeah, that's interesting, man. It's going to be a low-scoring game. That's what I'm expecting. We'll break down, especially on Monday. But what I keep going back to, and everything you pointed out, it's legit when people say it, I think. Against man, if you look at the numbers, and Notre Dame plays man at a very high clip, and they have these playmakers on the outside, namely Jeremiah Smith, who didn't do anything in the last game. I just keep going back to, I don't see this Notre Dame defense getting blown out. That's just where I'm at right now. As impressive as they've been, I just don't see it. Now Golden's smart enough to know we're not going to let these Buckeyes offensive weapons expose us all day. He's not an idiot. So I'm not going too far with that man defense argument that you are seeing out there. Bills, we're not calling a live dog. They open the week as the favorite. They're plus 100 on the money line. We like Buffalo, but we're not going to say live dog in this spot. Of the other 3 NFL dogs, Houston, Washington, Los Angeles, do you like any of them? Are any of them live in your mind?
Can I say no?
Absolutely. If no's the answer, if it's going to be a favorites weekend, yeah, that's the answer. We don't have to make something up for the segment. If we believe that there's not a live dog between those 3, then there's not a live dog.
I'm not betting any of these dogs on the money line this round. And this comes off a weekend where we were talking about betting a couple dogs, namely the Houston Texans were one of them. And granted, it's not exactly the greatest take in the world to take a 3-point dog at home, but we never thought that number right. I think all these numbers are right this round. And It's been a weird NFL year, man. It just has, because the favorites have won a lot. And it started in October, bled into November, bled into December. And again, the two big sharp positions, day of the game this past weekend, were on the Steelers and the Broncos. A lot of game day money. Wise guys don't bet game day, but the line moved a point and a half. The favorites shoved against that game day steam. And I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and say we should just moneyline parlay Kansas City, Detroit, Philly, and, well, I mean, you can't really talk about that game because the spread is a pick 'em. It's a glorified pick 'em. I think Kansas City, Detroit, and Philadelphia all win. Oh, hot take. I'm not betting Houston to win. I'm not betting Washington to win. And I'm not betting the Rams to win. So this might not be what people want to hear, but this is usually the time when you get through the wild card round and into the divisional round, you have great teams against good teams. And usually the great teams win in this round.
Just pulled up Kansas City money line, Detroit money line, Philly money line. You said you like all three to win. That three-legger is minus 108. Is that a better bet than any of these dogs?
Probably.
Think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so. And if you get through, I mean, Kansas City's going to win. They are. Do we really think Houston's going to go into Arrowhead and win? I don't.
They could cover, though.
They could cover.
I'm considering
we're talking. Points, yeah. We're talking straight. We're talking straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City's going to win. Detroit is the biggest favorite on the board. Probably going to win. And then if you get through those two, then you could take 6 points with the Rams and shoot a middle. If you make that parlay. And we're not big money line chalk guys. We're not. I mean, we did talk about every favorite in the first round of the college football playoff, and that was a layup. All the favorites at home. It was a layup.
Yeah.
It was a damn layup. I think Kansas City, Detroit is a win and a win. And then if you make that three-legger, then you've got Philly to win. And if you want to, you can take the points with the Rams. And if it lands 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the nuts.
This is not something we talk about on a regular basis. There are people that bet these moneyline parlays every single weekend, and you're very profitable. I'll take a wild stab at it. That if you did this over the course of the NFL season, especially after the first month, you won a good bunch of money. You're like, hey, betting on the NFL is easy. You did it on a regular basis. We do pick our spots with this, and I agree. I just would hope that the Rams would not ruin our weekends if you went this route. But yeah, those three favorites just to win, and that's about an even money bet. You're paying less juice than you do on your minus 110s out there. That's not the worst idea in the world.
You could even take the Rams on the money line if you want to. All you got to do is get through the first two. This works out for you chronologically because your two bigger favorites play on Saturday. So if you want to,
it's the last game too.
You're holding minus 108 on the parlay, and then you could come in if you don't like the Eagles anymore, you could bet the Rams at plus 230 to win the game. And now you're minus 108 and you're plus 230. I mean, that it's math, man. It's all math. At the end of the day, it's math.